The morning sun rose over New Sol Colony like it had for the past 12 years. Golden light spread across the green fields where humans grew their crops. The air smelled sweet from the flowers that bloomed everywhere. Children ran through the streets laughing and playing games. It was a perfect day on Harmony 7. Minho stood on his office balcony and smiled. As the colony's main leader, he loved watching his people live happy lives. 2.5 million humans called this place home now. They had turned an empty planet into something beautiful. The buildings looked nice but did not hurt nature. Rivers ran clean and clear through the city. Birds sang in the trees that lined every street. Another good day, Minho said to himself. He walked back inside to start his work. His assistant So-young was already there with his morning reports. The harvest looks great this year, So-young said with a bright smile. We will have enough food to send some back to Earth and still feed everyone here. So-young ran all the farming on New Sol. She was smart and worked hard. Under her care, the crops grew better than anyone thought possible. The planet's soil was rich and the weather was always good for growing food. That is wonderful news, Minho said. He sat at his desk and looked through the papers. Any problems I should know about? Nothing big. A few small machines broke down, but Hyunwoo's team fixed them already. The new families from Earth are doing well too. They love it here. Minho nodded. Hyunwoo was one of their best engineers. He kept all the colony's machines running smooth. More humans came to New Sol every few months. Earth was getting crowded and people wanted new places to live. Harmony 7 was perfect for that. Across town, Jinwoo checked the security reports at his office. As head of colony security, he made sure everyone stayed safe. It was an easy job most days. The worst problems were usually lost pets or small fights between neighbors. New Sol was a peaceful place, all quiet last night, his deputy Taehyun reported. Just a few noise complaints from the festival zone. Nothing serious. Taehyun ran the communication systems for the colony. He kept them connected to Earth and watched for messages from space. Ships passed by sometimes, but most just said hello and kept going. Good, Jinwoo said. I want to check the outer sensors today. Make sure they are working right. The colony had sensors that watched space around the planet. They would warn if any ships came close. But it had been months since they saw anything bigger than a small trading ship. Space was big and mostly empty. At the hospital, Dr. Yoonji finished checking her patients. The hospital was small but had everything they needed. People on New Sol were healthy and happy. Most of her work was delivering babies and treating small injuries. Doctor, we got 3 more families coming in next week, her nurse said. Should we get ready for their health checks? Yes, make sure we have enough supplies, Yoonji answered. I want everyone to feel welcome here. She walked to the window and looked out at the city. Children played in the park across the street. Their parents sat on benches and talked while they watched. Old people walked slowly on the paths, enjoying the warm sun. It was a good life. The afternoon brought the usual busy sounds of the colony. People worked in the fields and factories. Students went to school and learned new things. Families ate lunch together and made plans for the evening. No one worried about danger from space. Dongwoo was fixing his small transport ship at the landing area. He flew supplies between New Sol and the other human towns on the planet. It was good work and he liked flying through the clean sky. Need any help? Asked Jisoo, walking up with a smile. She worked at the school teaching children about space and other planets. Just checking the engine, Dongwoo said. Want to make sure it runs good for tomorrow's trip? They talked about normal things. The weather was nice. The school children were learning fast. Next month, there would be a big festival to celebrate the colony's founding day. Everything felt safe and normal. But far away in the dark of space, something terrible was coming. The Vorthak warships moved through the black like hungry animals hunting for food. They were big and ugly, covered in armor and weapons. Inside, the reptile-like aliens planned their attack on the human world. War leader Gorthak stood on his command bridge looking at pictures of New Sol. His yellow eyes were cold and cruel. He had sharp teeth and claws made for killing. The humans looked weak and soft to him. How many humans live there? He asked his officer. Over 2 million, war leader. They have no real weapons, only small security forces. Gorthak made a sound like laughter, but mean. Good. We will kill them all and take their pretty planet. Humans think they can spread through space like we do. They are wrong. The Vorthak had destroyed many worlds before. They liked to kill other species and take what they had. 17 different kinds of aliens had died because of them. Now they wanted to start killing humans too. Send the attack signal, Gorthak ordered. We attack at dawn on their world. Back on New Sol, the evening was calm and beautiful. Families had dinner together. People walked in the parks holding hands. Children played until their parents called them home. The city lights came on as the sun went down. Minho finished his work and went home to his small house. He lived alone but had many friends. Tomorrow he would meet with the town council to plan new buildings. More people meant they needed more homes and schools. Jinwoo walked through the quiet streets doing his evening check. Everything looked good. The night shift took over security duties. They would watch the sensors and keep everyone safe while the colony slept. Dr. Yoonji stayed late at the hospital. A woman was having a baby and she wanted to make sure everything went well. New life coming into their peaceful world always made her happy. So-young worked in her garden behind her house. She grew vegetables and flowers for her own family. The plants grew so well on this planet. Tomorrow she would check the big farms to see how the main crops were doing. None of them knew that death was racing toward their world through the dark of space. The Vorthak ships moved fast and quiet. Their weapons were ready to kill. Their soldiers were hungry for human blood. The night passed peacefully on New Sol. People slept in warm beds. They dreamed of good things. Children dreamed of games and toys. Adults dreamed of their families and their work. Old people dreamed of long, happy lives in their beautiful colony. But morning would bring the end of everything they loved. The Vorthak were coming, and they showed no mercy to anyone. The attack started before the sun came up. Taehyun was working the night shift at the communication center when all the screens started flashing red. Warning signals came from the space sensors around the planet. His hands shook as he read the numbers. Big ships coming fast, he said to himself. Really big ships. He pressed the emergency button that would wake up Jinwoo and Minho. Then he tried to call the ships and ask what they wanted. Only silence came back. That was not good. Jinwoo got the call at his home. He jumped out of bed and put on his clothes fast. His wife asked what was wrong, but he was already running out the door. Stay inside, he told her. Keep the children inside too. He drove his small car as fast as it could go to the security building. The streets were empty and dark. Most people were still sleeping. They had no idea what was coming. At the communication center, Taehyun kept trying to talk to the unknown ships. The sensors showed 12 big warships and many smaller ones. They were moving toward New Sol like hungry wolves. This is New Sol Colony, Taehyun said into his microphone. Please tell us who you are and what you want. Still no answer. The ships just kept coming closer. Jinwoo ran into the building and looked at the screens. His face went white when he saw how many ships there were. Wake everyone up, he told Taehyun. All security people, all the town leaders, everyone who can help. Do it now. Taehyun sent emergency messages to every house in the colony. Loud sirens started making noise in the streets. People woke up scared and confused. They looked out their windows and saw the security cars racing around town. Minho got dressed and ran to his office. He had never seen anything like this before. New Sol was supposed to be safe. They were far from any dangerous aliens. They had no enemies. What do we know? He asked Jinwoo when they met at the main government building. Big warships. Maybe aliens. They will not talk to us, Jinwoo showed him the sensor readings. They will be here in 1 hour. Minho felt sick in his stomach. His peaceful colony was about to be attacked. 2.5 million people were in danger and he did not know how to save them. Call Earth, he said to Taehyun. Tell them we need help right now. But Earth was very far away. Even the fastest military ships would take weeks to get to New Sol. They were alone. Dr. Yoonji got the emergency message at the hospital. She started getting ready for hurt people. She called all her doctors and nurses to come in fast. If fighting was coming, many people would need medical help. So-young ran to the farms outside town. She needed to warn the families who lived there. Many people worked far from the main city growing food. They might not hear the sirens. Everyone get to the shelters, she told the farm workers. Danger is coming from space. The colony had some underground shelters built for storms and accidents. They were not made for war, but they were the safest places they had. High above the planet, the Vorthak ships got ready to attack. War leader Gorthak stood on his bridge and smiled with his sharp teeth. The human colony looked so peaceful and weak. They have no big weapons, his officer reported. Only small security forces with light guns. Perfect, Gorthak said. We will burn their cities and kill them all. Then this pretty world will belong to us. The first Vorthak ships came down through the morning sky like falling stars, but instead of wishes they brought death and fire. Jinwoo had put his few security people around the colony with their small weapons. They were not soldiers. Most of them had never fought anyone before, but they would try to protect their families and friends. Remember, protect the people first, Jinwoo told them on his radio. Help everyone get to the shelters. Fight only if you have to. Hyunwoo was trying to get the colony's machines ready. They had some construction equipment that might be useful. Big digging machines and heavy lifters. Not weapons, but better than nothing. The first Vorthak ship landed near the main city like a huge metal mountain. Doors opened on the sides and alien soldiers came out. They looked like big lizards walking on two legs. They carried energy weapons that could burn through metal. People in the streets screamed and ran away. The aliens started shooting at everything that moved. Houses caught fire. Cars exploded. The peaceful morning turned into a nightmare. Jinwoo and his security team tried to fight back. Their small guns did almost nothing to the heavily armored aliens. But they kept shooting anyway, trying to give people time to escape. Fall back to the school, Jinwoo said into his radio. We need to make a stand there. The school was a strong building in the center of town. If they could hold it, maybe they could protect some people. More Vorthak ships landed all around New Seoul. The aliens spread out through the colony like a disease. They killed everyone they found. Men, women, children, old people. It did not matter to them. Dr. Yoonji's hospital was close to one of the landing areas. She could see the aliens coming toward them through the windows. Scary creatures with yellow eyes and bloody claws. We have to move the patients, she told her nurses. Get everyone who can walk to the basement. Carry the others. They worked fast to move sick people and new mothers to the safest part of the hospital. But Yoonji knew it would not be safe enough. Minho was still in his office trying to coordinate the defense. But there was not much to coordinate. His people were farmers and teachers and shopkeepers. They were not warriors. Sir, we need to evacuate you, one of his guards said. This building is not safe. I am not leaving my people, Minho said. Send the emergency messages to Earth. Tell them what happened here. Someone needs to know. Taehyun kept broadcasting their situation to space, hoping someone would hear. He told the story of the attack over and over. His voice shook as he described the aliens killing innocent people. This is New Seoul Colony under attack by unknown aliens, he said into his microphone. They are killing civilians. We need help. Someone please help us. The fighting spread through the whole colony. Smoke rose from burning buildings. The pretty parks and clean streets were covered with bodies and broken glass. The paradise that took 12 years to build was being destroyed in hours. Jinwoo found himself trapped in the school with about 50 other people. They had some children and old people who could not fight. His small group of security guards was down to 6 people. How many bullets do we have left? He asked. Not many, one of his men answered. Maybe enough for a few more minutes of fighting. Outside, they could hear the aliens getting closer. The creatures made angry hissing sounds as they searched for more humans to kill. Soon they would find the school. Hyunwoo tried to ram one of the alien ships with a big construction machine. The machine was destroyed and he was badly hurt. But he had damaged the ship enough that some aliens inside were killed. Other colonists tried to fight back too. They threw rocks and used farm tools as weapons. A few had hunting rifles that did a little damage. But it was not enough. The aliens had too many advantages. By noon, most of New Seoul was in ruins. The aliens controlled the landing areas and main streets. They hunted down the remaining humans like animals. The beautiful colony that Minho loved so much was turning into a graveyard. Dr. Yoonji's hospital was finally found by the aliens. They broke down the doors and started killing patients in their beds. She tried to stop them, but they threw her aside like a doll. Please, she begged them. These people are sick. They cannot hurt you. But the aliens did not care. They killed everyone they found. Doctors, nurses, patients, even the woman who had just given birth to a baby the night before. The massacre of New Seoul had begun, and no one was coming to help them. The sun reached the middle of the sky, but its light could not chase away the darkness that had fallen on New Seoul. Smoke covered the colony like a black blanket. The smell of burning buildings and death filled the air. Jinwoo held his position at the school with the few people left alive. Through the broken windows, he could see alien soldiers moving between the houses. They were looking for more humans to kill. His small group was one of the last pockets of resistance in the colony. "They are coming this way," whispered Hyunwoo. He had made it to the school despite his injuries from ramming the alien ship. Blood ran down his face, but he still held a rifle. "How many?" Jinwoo asked. "Maybe 20. Too many for us." Jinwoo looked around at the people hiding in the school. Scared children held their parents tight. Old people sat quietly, knowing they were about to die. A few young adults had found weapons and were ready to fight, but they were not soldiers. "Listen to me," Jinwoo said softly to everyone. "I will try to hold them off. Take the children and run out the back door. Head for the mountains. Maybe you can hide there." "We are not leaving you," said a teacher named Young-ho. "This is our home too." "Your job is to stay alive," Jinwoo replied. "Someone needs to tell the world what happened here." The alien soldiers were getting closer. Through the windows, the humans could see their yellow eyes and sharp teeth. The creatures looked excited, like they enjoyed hunting people. At the hospital, Dr. Unji crawled through the rubble looking for survivors. Most of her patients were dead now. The aliens had killed them all without mercy. But she found a few people still breathing in the basement. "We have to get out of here," she told them. "Can you walk?" A young mother clutched her baby close to her chest. "Where can we go?" "They are everywhere." Yunji did not have a good answer. The colony was lost. But as a doctor, she could not give up while people still needed her help. "The forest," she said. "We go to the forest and hide." She led the small group of survivors out through a hole in the hospital wall. They moved carefully, trying to stay hidden from the aliens who were still searching the building. In the government building, Minho and Taehyun were still trying to send messages to space. The communication equipment was damaged but still working a little bit. "Anyone out there, this is New Seoul Colony," Taehyun said into his microphone. His voice was tired and full of sadness. "We are being destroyed by alien attackers. They call themselves Vorthak. They are killing everyone, even children and sick people." Minho watched the screen showing different parts of the colony. Everywhere he looked, he saw the same thing. Buildings on fire, bodies in the streets, alien soldiers hunting for more people to kill. "Keep broadcasting," he told Taehyun. "Someone needs to know what happened here. Someone needs to remember us." So-young had gathered a group of farm families in a barn outside the main city. They could see the smoke rising from New Seoul and hear the sounds of weapons firing. The children were crying and the adults looked scared. "We should run deeper into the countryside," said an old farmer named Dongwon. "Get as far away as possible." "No," So-young said. "We stay together and we stay hidden. If we run around in the open, they will find us." She was right. The alien ships were flying over the whole planet now, searching for humans who had escaped the main attack. Every few minutes they would spot someone running and kill them with energy beams from the sky. War leader Gorthak walked through the burning streets of New Seoul, enjoying the destruction. His soldiers had done good work. The human colony was almost completely destroyed. Soon this pretty world would belong to the Vorthak Empire. "How many humans are left?" he asked his officer. "Our scanners show small groups hiding in different places, maybe a few thousand out of the millions who lived here." "Find them all," Gorthak ordered. "Kill every human on this planet. I want no survivors to tell stories about what happened here." The alien soldiers were very good at their job. They had destroyed many worlds before this one. They knew how to hunt down the last hiding places and kill everyone inside. At the school, Jinwoo heard the aliens breaking down the front door. He took a deep breath and stepped out into the hallway with his rifle. "Go now," he shouted to the people behind him. "Run!" The first alien soldier came around the corner and Jinwoo shot it in the chest. His bullet barely made a mark on its armor, but it slowed the creature down for a second. That second let the children and old people get a little farther away. More aliens came through the door. Jinwoo kept shooting until his rifle was empty. Then he picked up a metal rod from the broken furniture and swung it at the creatures. Hyunwoo and Young-ho joined the fight. They knew they could not win, but they could buy time for the others to escape. They fought like lions protecting their cubs. The battle did not last long. The aliens were too strong and too well armed. One by one, the human defenders fell, but they had done what they wanted to do. The children and old people had gotten away into the forest. Jinwoo lay on the floor of the school where he had once attended meetings about harvest festivals and new playgrounds. His body was broken, but he was still alive. An alien soldier stood over him with a weapon pointed at his head. "Why?" Jinwoo asked with his last breath. "Why did you do this to us?" "We never hurt you." The alien did not answer. It just pulled the trigger. Dr. Yoonji and her group of survivors made it to the forest. They found a deep cave where they could hide from the alien ships flying overhead. The baby had stopped crying, but that was because it was too weak from hunger. "We need food and medicine," the young mother said. "I know," Yunji replied. "But we have to wait. The aliens are still hunting." They could hear energy weapons firing in the distance. Every shot meant another human had been found and killed. The beautiful world that had been their home was turning into a place of nightmares. Back at the government building, Minho and Tae-hyun were running out of time. Alien soldiers had surrounded the building and were trying to break in. "Send the final message," Minho told Tae-hyun. "Tell Earth everything we learned about these creatures." Tae-hyun typed as fast as he could. He described the Vorthak ships, their weapons, their tactics. He told how they killed innocent people without any reason. He uploaded pictures and videos of the attack. "Message sent," Tae-hyun said. "Earth will know what happened here." The aliens broke through the door just as he finished. Minho stood up from his desk and faced them calmly. "I am the leader of this colony," he said. "I am responsible for these people. Do what you want to me. But the others who are hiding are just farmers and teachers. They are not threats to you." War leader Gorthak himself came into the room. He looked at the human leader with his cold yellow eyes. "You built a pretty world here," Gorthak said in broken human language. "Too bad you will not live to enjoy it." "Why are you doing this?" Minho asked. "We never attacked your people. We just wanted to live in peace." Gorthak made his harsh laughing sound. "Because we can. Because you are weak and we are strong. That is the only reason that matters." The alien leader raised his weapon, but Minho did not look away. He thought about his people, his beautiful colony, and the children who would never grow up now. "Earth will remember," Minho said. "They will remember what you did here." Those were his last words. The massacre continued for 3 more days. The aliens hunted down every hiding place they could find. They killed the survivors in the forest, the families hiding in caves, the children who had tried to run to the mountains. Dr. Yunji was one of the last to die. She was found trying to help wounded people in a basement. Even facing death, she was still trying to save lives. So Young held out longer than most. She led her group of farmers deep into the wilderness where the aliens had trouble finding them. But in the end, the alien ships spotted their campfire and bombed them from the sky. Only a few dozen humans managed to escape the planet in damaged shuttles and small ships. They carried the terrible news away from New Seoul toward the stars, hoping to find help. Dongwoo was one of them. His transport ship was badly damaged but still flying. Jisoo sat beside him holding a memory chip with pictures of the attack. "Will anyone believe us?" she asked. "They have to," Dongwoo said. "The whole galaxy needs to know what these creatures are like." Behind them, New Seoul burned. The Vorthak had won completely. They had turned a peaceful human world into a graveyard. Over 2 million people were dead, and the aliens were already making plans to take more human colonies. War leader Gorthak stood on the balcony where Minho used to watch his people live happy lives. Now he watched alien soldiers strip the dead bodies and load valuable things onto their ships. "Send word to the Emperor," Gorthak told his officer. "The first human world is ours. We are ready to attack the next one." The beautiful colony of New Seoul was gone forever, but the few survivors who escaped would make sure that Earth remembered. They would tell the story of what happened there, and Earth would answer. The Vorthak thought they had won an easy victory. They had no idea they had just started a war with the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The news from New Seoul reached Earth like a punch in the stomach. The few surviving ships limped into Earth's space carrying the worst news in human history. Over 2 million people were dead. An entire colony had been wiped out by aliens who killed for fun. Dongwoo's damaged transport ship was the first to arrive. He could barely walk when they pulled him from his pilot's seat. His ship was full of holes from alien weapons and held together with emergency patches. "They killed everyone," he told the Earth Defense Force officers who met him. "Men, women, children, babies. They did not care who they killed." Jisoo was in the medical bay being treated for her injuries, but she would not let the doctors keep her quiet. She showed them the memory chip with pictures from New Seoul. "You need to see this," she said. "The whole government needs to see what those creatures did to us." The pictures were horrible. Bodies in the streets. Buildings on fire. Alien soldiers shooting at children who were trying to run away. The peaceful colony that had taken 12 years to build was destroyed in just a few days. President Sung Jae called an emergency meeting of all Earth's leaders. They gathered in the big conference room in Geneva. The room was usually full of talk about trade deals and space exploration. Today it was quiet as death. Admiral Wanho of the Earth Defense Force played the videos from New Seoul. Strong leaders who had seen many difficult things in their lives started crying when they watched children being hunted down like animals. How many of these Vorthak are there? Asked Defense Minister Yuna. We do not know yet, Admiral Wanho replied. But the survivors say they have a big empire. They have done this before to other species. President Sungjai stood up slowly. His face was white with anger and sadness. For 50 years we have spread through space peacefully, he said. We made friends with other species. We built colonies to grow food and make homes for our people. We thought the universe was big enough for everyone to live together. He walked to the window and looked up at the sky where the stars were starting to show. We were wrong. There are creatures out there who see kindness as weakness, who think peace means we cannot fight. Today we learned that some species only understand one language. He turned back to face the room full of leaders. These Vorthak want war. We will give them war, but they will not like the war they get from humanity. The vote was unanimous. For the first time in Earth's history, they declared total war against another species. Every country, every space colony, every human settlement would work together to destroy the Vorthak Empire. Admiral Wanho was put in charge of building Earth's war machine. He called Dr. Kyung-soo, the head of military research, to his office. What weapons do we have? Wanho asked. Not enough for a real war, Dr. Kyung-soo said honestly. We have been focused on exploration and peaceful contact with aliens. Our ships are built for science, not fighting. Then we build new ships. Better ships. Ships that can kill these creatures. Dr. Kyung-soo smiled for the first time since hearing about New Seoul. I have been waiting my whole life for someone to say that. Give me 6 months and unlimited resources. I will build weapons that will make the Vorthak wish they had never heard of humans. General Seokjin was put in charge of training soldiers. Earth had small military forces for keeping peace and protecting space stations. Now they needed armies that could fight across the galaxy. We will need millions of soldiers, he told President Sungjai. And they need to be ready to fight aliens, not just other humans. You will have whatever you need, the president replied. Money, equipment, people. The entire human race is behind this war. Engineer Nayeon led the teams building new warships. The plans Dr. Kyung-soo gave her were like nothing Earth had ever built before. These ships were designed for one purpose only, to destroy enemy worlds. The Vorthak ships are big and heavily armored, she told her construction teams. But they are slow and use old technology. We will build ships that are fast, smart, and deadly. The shipyards around Earth worked day and night. New factories were built on the Moon and Mars just to make weapons and ships. Every human settlement contributed what they could. Metal, electronics, food for the workers, volunteers to join the military. Intelligence Director Irene had the hardest job of all. She needed to learn everything about the Vorthak Empire. Where were their worlds? How many ships did they have? What were their weaknesses? Send spy drones to Vorthak space, she ordered her teams. I want to know how many of them there are and where they live. We cannot fight an enemy we do not understand. Captain Hoseok volunteered to lead the first spy mission into enemy territory. He took a small, fast ship designed to avoid detection. His job was to map Vorthak worlds and find military targets. Be careful out there, Admiral Wanho told him before he left. We cannot afford to lose you. But we need that information. Do not worry about me, Hoseok replied. I want to see these creatures pay for what they did to New Seoul. As Earth prepared for war, the Vorthak were celebrating their easy victory. War leader Gorthak had been promoted for destroying the human colony. Emperor Vorthex gave him command of more ships to attack other human worlds. The humans are weak, Emperor Vorthex told his war council. They build pretty colonies, but they cannot fight. We will take all their worlds and make them our slaves. The other Vorthak leaders agreed. They had fought many species before and humans seemed no different. Soft, peaceful creatures who would break easily under pressure. They were making the biggest mistake in galactic history. Dr. Kyung-soo's weapons labs created new technology every day. Plasma cannons that could melt through any armor. Missiles that could track targets across star systems. Energy shields that could protect entire fleets. But the most important weapon was not a gun or a bomb. It was the human spirit. Every person on Earth was angry about New Seoul. Every human colony in space wanted revenge. They worked together like never before. Youngman was a factory worker who had never cared about politics or war. But when he saw the pictures from New Sol, he volunteered to work extra shifts making weapons. "My sister lives on Colony Beta 7, he told his friends. "Those creatures might attack her next. I will not let that happen." Sora was a computer programmer who joined the military to help design smart weapons. "I never wanted to hurt anyone," she said. "But after seeing what they did to those children, I want to build something that will stop them forever." All across human space, the same thing was happening. Peaceful people were becoming warriors. Scientists were making weapons. Artists were drawing propaganda posters. Everyone was working toward the same goal: make the Vorthak pay for New Sol. Captain Hosiak's spy ship reached Vorthak space after 3 weeks of careful travel. What he found there made him sick to his stomach. The Vorthak Empire was built on slavery and murder. They had destroyed 17 different species and taken their worlds. "This is not just about New Sol," he reported back to Earth. "These creatures are a disease in the galaxy. They have been killing innocent people for centuries." He sent back pictures of Vorthak slave camps where survivors from dead worlds worked until they dropped. He showed them Vorthak breeding worlds where they raised new soldiers for conquest. He mapped their industrial centers and military bases. "They have maybe 50 worlds and thousands of ships," he reported. "But their technology is old and they are overconfident. They think no one can challenge them." Admiral Wanho studied the intelligence reports with his staff. The Vorthak Empire was big, but it had weaknesses. They were spread thin across many worlds. Their ships were powerful but slow. Most importantly, they had never fought an enemy that could match their technology. "We hit them fast and hard," Wanho decided. "Multiple targets at the same time. Do not give them time to react or call for help." The first human war fleet was ready after 8 months of building. The ships looked nothing like the peaceful exploration vessels that humans had used before. These were sleek, dark warships covered in weapons and armor. The flagship was called New Sol's Revenge. Admiral Wanho stood on its bridge looking at the stars where his enemies lived. "For too long, the galaxy has suffered under Vorthak rule," he said to his crew. "Today that ends. Today we show them what happens when you attack humanity's children." The fleet jumped into hyperspace heading for Vorthak territory. Behind them, Earth continued building more ships and training more soldiers. This war would not end until every Vorthak world was ashes and every human death was avenged. War leader Gorthak was planning his next attack on a human mining colony when the first reports came in. Human ships had appeared at 3 different Vorthak worlds. They were attacking with weapons the Vorthak had never seen before. "Impossible," Gorthak said. "The humans have no military. They are farmers and traders." But the reports kept coming. Human ships were destroying Vorthak fleets with ease. Their weapons cut through alien armor like it was paper. Their tactics were smart and ruthless. Emperor Vorthax called an emergency meeting of his war council. For the first time in centuries, the Vorthak Empire was under attack. How did the humans build such ships so quickly? The Emperor demanded. No one had an answer. They had thought humans were weak because they chose peace. They never imagined that peaceful people could become the most dangerous warriors in the galaxy when their families were threatened. The war between humanity and the Vorthak Empire lasted 2 years, but everyone knew how it would end after the first month. The aliens who had thought humans were weak learned a terrible lesson about what peaceful people could do when their children were murdered. Admiral Wanho's fleets struck like lightning across Vorthak space. Every attack was planned perfectly. Human ships appeared without warning, destroyed their targets, and vanished before the enemy could respond. The Vorthak military, used to bullying weaker species, had no idea how to fight an enemy that was smarter and better armed than they were. Captain Taeyang commanded the battleship, Sol's Wrath, in the attack on Vorthak industrial world Keth 9. The planet made weapons and ships for the alien empire. It was protected by hundreds of defensive satellites and a large fleet. "All weapons ready," Taeyang told his crew. "Remember what they did to our people on New Sol, no mercy." The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace already firing. New weapons designed by Dr. Kyung-soo tore through Vorthak's shields like they were not even there. Plasma cannons melted alien ships in seconds. Smart missiles found every target and exploded with perfect timing. The battle was over in 20 minutes. The entire Vorthak defense fleet was destroyed without damaging a single human ship. The industrial facilities on the planet were bombed into rubble. Another piece of the alien empire was gone. Commander Yuna led ground forces that liberated slave camps on captured Vorthak worlds. What she found there made her hate the aliens even more. Survivors from 17 different species were kept in horrible conditions, worked until they died, and treated worse than animals. "You are free," she told a group of freed slaves on the planet Torture. "The Vorthak will never hurt you again." An old alien from a species called the Gentle Ones looked up at her with tears in his eyes. "Are you really here to help us? Or are you just another kind of conqueror?" "We are here to stop the Vorthak forever," Yuna replied. "When this war is over, you can go back to your homeworlds and live in peace." The freed slaves could hardly believe it. For generations, they had suffered under Vorthak rule. Now strange new aliens called humans were setting them free and asking for nothing in return. Word spread through the galaxy that humanity was different from other species. They did not conquer worlds to keep them. They freed slaves instead of making new ones. They built hospitals for wounded enemies instead of just killing them. But they showed no mercy to the Vorthak themselves. Dr. Sungwan, working with the military research teams, created new weapons for each battle. When the Vorthak developed better armor, he made weapons that went around the armor. When they tried to hide their ships, he built sensors that could find them anywhere. "The Vorthak think war is about being the strongest," Dr. Sungwan told his team. "They do not understand that war is about being the smartest. We will always be one step ahead of them." The alien empire tried everything to stop the human advance. They built bigger ships with more weapons. They used new tactics learned from studying human battles. They even tried to make peace agreements. Emperor Vorthak sent messages to Earth offering to return human prisoners and pay money for the damage to New Sol. He promised to leave all human worlds alone if they would stop. Attacking President Sungjae's response was broadcast across the galaxy. "The time for peace was before you murdered our children. Now there will be justice." War leader Gorthak, the alien who had led the attack on New Sol, tried to rally his forces for a final battle. He gathered the largest Vorthak fleet ever assembled and waited for the humans to come. "We are the masters of this galaxy," he told his soldiers. "We have conquered 17 species. We will not be defeated by soft humans who grew vegetables and wrote poetry." But when Admiral Wanho's grand fleet arrived, Gorthak saw ships that looked like they came from nightmares. Black hulls covered in weapons, energy shields that glowed like angry stars, missiles that moved faster than thought. The final battle took place in orbit around Vorth Prime, the Vorthak homeworld. It was the largest space battle in galactic history. Thousands of ships on both sides filled the space around the planet like angry metal storms. But humanity had learned from 2 years of war. Their ships worked together like parts of one giant machine. Their weapons never missed. Their defenses never failed. Captain Jiho led a squadron of fast attack ships against Gorthak's flagship. "This is for the children of New Sol," he said as his weapons tore the alien ship apart. War leader Gorthak died the same way his victims had, suddenly, violently, with no chance to fight back. The battle for Vorth Prime lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Vorthak Empire had no fleet left. Their homeworld lay defenseless before the human, ships that filled the sky like dark angels of justice. Admiral Wanho stood on the bridge of New Sol's Revenge and looked down at the planet where the orders to destroy the human colony had come from. He thought about Minho and Jinwoo and Dr. Unji and all the other good people who had died for no reason. "Begin the bombardment," he ordered. The attack on Vorth Prime lasted exactly 72 hours. The same amount of time the Vorthak had spent destroying New Sol, but humanity's revenge was more complete. Every military base, every weapons factory, every government building was reduced to ashes. The Vorthak civilians were spared, but they were left with nothing. Their empire was broken. Their military was destroyed. Their leader was dead. They would never threaten anyone again. Emperor Vorthex was captured alive and brought to the ruins of New Sol for trial. Representatives from all the species the Vorthak had oppressed came to watch justice be served. The trial lasted for months. Survivor after survivor told their stories of Vorthak cruelty. The Emperor was forced to listen to testimony from every species his people had destroyed. Jizu, one of the few survivors from New Sol, spoke for all the human victims. "You thought we were weak because we chose peace," she said to the alien Emperor. "You learned that we were strong because we chose war when war was forced upon us." The Emperor was sentenced to spend the rest of his life helping rebuild the worlds his empire had destroyed. It was worse than death for a creature who had once ruled the galaxy. The other captured Vorthak leaders received similar sentences. They would work as slaves to repair the damage they had caused. They would build homes for the species they had made homeless. They would tend the graves of the people they had killed. General Seokjin established permanent human military bases throughout former Vorthak space. "We will make sure this never happens again," he told the freed species. "If anyone tries to build another empire based on murder and slavery, humanity will stop them." The galaxy was different after the war. Species that had lived in fear of the Vorthak for centuries were free to develop their own cultures again. Trade routes that had been controlled by alien slavers became peaceful highways between worlds. Humanity became the protector of the weak and the enemy of tyrants. Other species knew that if they were attacked by bullies, human ships would come to help them. The same people who had built beautiful colonies also built the strongest military in the galaxy. Dr. Kyungsu's research centers continued developing new technology, but now it was shared with other species. Former Vorthak slave worlds received human medical equipment and farming tools to help them recover. Engineer Neon led projects to rebuild the worlds the Vorthak had destroyed. Where there had once been slave camps, she built schools and hospitals. Where aliens had once lived in fear, children now played safely in parks. A memorial was built on the site where New Seoul had stood. The names of all 2.3 million victims were carved in stone that would last forever. Visitors from across the galaxy came to read the names and remember what happened when peaceful people were pushed too far. Minho's statue stood in the center of the memorial garden, looking out over the rebuilt colony. The inscription at the base said, "They thought we were weak because we chose peace. They learned we were strongest when we chose justice." Captain Hoseok, now an admiral, established the Galactic Peace Corps. Human ships patrolled trade routes and protected small colonies from pirates and aggressors. The same species that had once been farmers and teachers became the galaxy's police force. Dongwu, the pilot who had escaped New Seoul's destruction, became the head of refugee services. He helped survivors from the Vorthak Empire find new homes and rebuild their lives. "We cannot bring back the dead," he told a gathering of survivors, "but we can make sure they did not die for nothing. We can build a galaxy where children are safe and the strong protect the weak instead of preying on them." The war was over, but humanity's mission continued. They had learned that peace required strength to defend it. They had learned that good people sometimes had to fight to protect the innocent. The galaxy was safer because humans had been forced to become warriors. Species that had never heard of Earth now knew that somewhere in the stars, there lived people who would travel any distance and fight any enemy to protect the helpless. The Vorthak Empire was gone forever. In its place grew something better, a community of free species protected by humans who had learned that the price of peace was eternal vigilance. New Seoul was rebuilt, more beautiful than before. Children played in the parks where their grandparents had died. Students learned in schools built on the graves of heroes.